Я уверен, что Алан с удовольствием выслушает ваши комментарии и вопросы. А сейчас я хотел попросить его рассказать о том, как этот сложный процесс зарождения новой темы происходит. Okay?
Okay. So the different answers to the question. First is, I don't operate like a business. So, unlike many filmmakers, and I respect this process, I never can say I'm shooting this film, I'm editing this film, I'm pitching this film. I make one film at a time, only. So I put all my heart, all my soul, all my energy, all my love into one film at a time. So, next part is that now that I've made a number of films, I understand my process, the internal process. So I always take like a year off after I finish a film. And I do what I'm doing now. I show it, I answer questions about it, I learn about what I've done. For me, finishing a film is not the end. Completing a film is not the end, it's the beginning of the end. I need to show it, discuss it, answer questions, understand what I've done so that I can take that with me for the next one. Also, should I stop?
No, go on.
Also, in the year that I'm not making a film and screening and showing at festivals and around the world, I need to forget how hard filmmaking is. Because if I didn't forget, I would never make another film. Also, because I edit my films, I need some time to erase the biocomputer, to erase my mind of all of the thinking, all of the stuff that's in my brain, to just relax. But another very important thing is I need to let life push me around a little bit, throw me around a little bit, so that when I'm ready to make a next film, I'm a different person. I'm fresh in a new way. So, now, what to do? For me, a film subject has to be a combination of need and fascination. It has to be something I feel I need to do, because I know I'm going to give it years of my life and all of my passion and all of my energy, so it has to be something that I can't live without doing. But also it has to be something fascinating, and I mean that both psychologically, intellectually, spiritually, something, because it should be something that I can learn, that I can enjoy and be researching about and learning about, because I know I'm going to live with this subject for many years. So it has to be the combination of the two. And also, I want it to be the most difficult thing that I could possibly do. It's very important. It's supposed to be difficult. Filmmaking is supposed to be the hardest thing that you can do. Meaning, every project should be the most difficult thing I could think of doing. Because through that, that's how you grow. That's how you evolve. That's how you change. Because you're taking a journey that's asking everything that you have, asking it to give you everything that it has, and change you along the way. Having said that, I also want to say that it should be fun. It's supposed to be difficult, but fun. And think about this idea that the most difficult thing that you could possibly be doing should also be fun. And if you can make an equation internally for that combination, to me, I think that's the best thing. That's how you grow as a person. That's how you grow as a filmmaker. So I have a mythology how I got from one film to the next to the next. It's not so interesting. It's very difficult for me to discover what the next film should be every time. And I never know. Even right now, even after having made First Cousin Once Removed, I do not know what my next project will be. And that doesn't mean that subconsciously I'm not churning with things and ideas and possibilities, because I am. but I just don't know, can't talk about it, and for me that's normal. That's my process.
А что происходит после того, как вы знаете, кого будете снимать, и до того, как вы начали снимать?
Okay, depending on the situation, I read as much as I can. I find as much. I research. I Google. I look at fiction film. I do as much as I can to try to understand the subject. And then I start to think cinematically, what are the metaphors, visual metaphors, or audio metaphors that are part of the language of this subject. And, but with regards to the research that I do, after I learn it and absorb it, I throw it out because it's not interesting anymore. It's like, chewing on something, you get the nutrition, you get the nutrients, and then I don't need, because in the case of First Cousin Once Removed, for instance, it's not about the science of Alzheimer's. You're not going to learn statistics or things or do, don't. It's, I needed to know that, but my film is about other things, So I learn and then I forget, or you might say forgetting is a part of the process of, I want to know everything there is to know about my subject, because learning everything there is to know might make me think about images or sounds, or make me associate with something else about the subject that could be valuable to me in filmmaking. But I can't film. In fact, the word Alzheimer's is just mentioned 2 or 3 times in the film. That's all. I'm a big believer that, as I mentioned earlier, each film is a journey. So I'm not a big believer in, there must be a word in Russian, and I'm sure they teach it, because this idea of treatments. You write treatments, this word, treatments? It's a very dangerous word. It's a very dangerous, and I know they teach it, and they have to teach it, because it's important that you understand your subject. But the problem with treatments is that, this is what my film is about. I'm going to talk to this person, and they're going to tell me this. Then we're going to cut to this, and then I'm going to, and it's like a script, And the problem with a script, a treatment, is that if you think you know what your film is about, if you think you know where you're going, then you won't look to the sides or behind you, because all you want to do is get there to the end, which is predetermined, I mean, for instance, this would be a part 3, but I'm going to include it in part 2, make it more difficult for you. It's like interviewing someone. If you interview someone and you think you know what you want them to say, that's a big problem for me. Because the best interview is when someone tells you something they've never said before. They never thought it, and they never said it. And what's even better in an interview situation is when someone tells you something that changes your relationship to your film, changes your understanding of your subject, off the script, off the treatment. It's not, So I'm a big believer that it's a journey, and that it's okay to get lost. It's okay not to know, that you should have the confidence and the frame of mind to enter the process where you discover your film as you go along somehow. Yeah. Well, one thing that I knew from an early age, maybe I recognized it when I was maybe 16 or 17 years old, that I was a collagist. I like putting things together. So ideas, words, images, sounds, pictures. So I started to surround myself, like collagists do, with things that I could put together. Pictures, sounds. I created a kind of archive around in my studio.
Do you consider your way of filming as a process of a subjective camera. So how does interact this objective situation with this subjective camera?
So it's a big problem as I work in each film, and it manifests itself differently. I made a film about my name in 2001. It's called The Sweetest Sound, and I'm in the film. I'm part of, I invited all the people who share my name to dinner in my home. So I'm one of the people who share the name, and I have to have insight into what all of it means. I used to say to myself, I'm the fish, the fisherman, and the chef. So I made this film, we're talking about sleep, okay? So I've been an insomniac my life, whole life, so I think I'm qualified to make a film about insomnia, okay? So how could I have done that? How can one make a film about insomnia? Now, a more typical or conventional approach would be, I put an ad in the newspaper, filmmaker looking for people who don't sleep, let me come and follow, you know, your problem. Maybe we go to a doctor together, I film you. Maybe I contact doctors and I say, can you give me some patients? Maybe I'll, you know, I can, but that's a conventional approach. I make films from the inside out, not outside in. But why would I do that when I had access? Is there a word in Russian for the word access? I had, because throw that word out, just down. I had access to someone who had been suffering. You're going to have to remember a lot now. You ready? Mm-hmm. I had access to someone who had been suffering from insomnia his whole life, was willing to work with me and do whatever it took to make a film about the subject, was not afraid to make fun of himself, was willing to bring a camera into his bedroom. His wife and family were open to the project. He gave me access to his dreams. He and his wife were about to have a baby, which I knew would even enter into more sleep issues. And the guy was a filmmaker. So why wouldn't I choose that person to make the film? One last part.
It's not subjective, it's more obsessional.
Well, but okay, well that's part of it. That's obsession is, I think it comes with the territory of filmmaking. If you're not obsessed, I mean, because part of obsession, which is a word I used to be kind of afraid of, but part of obsession is love and caring and passion, you know, and that's part of what this is all about too, you know, because for me it's privileged access. It's privileged access. And I'll give you an example of the conflict and the paradox. So there I am in the middle of the night while I'm working on this film, wide awake. I'm in my bed and it's 4 in the morning and I'm not sleeping. So I'm making a film about insomnia as an insomniac who's not sleeping, and the fact that I'm not sleeping is a big problem because I'm having trouble concentrating on the film, right? So I'm saying to myself, this is crazy. How did I get myself in this situation? This is hell. I can't wait till this film is over. I'm going out of my mind every night like this, right? That's me talking the subject of the film. Now, I'm also the director of the film who's saying to himself, this is fantastic. I'm inside this man's head. I'm inside the head of an insomniac. Okay? Go deeper, man. Go further. Let's get to the bottom of this. You know, and this is true. This is real paradox. But that's part of the energy that makes the film. I start a film. It's always to show the world. Never, wouldn't even consider the idea that what I'm doing is for me only or for 5 people. I make a film, I'm trying to turn the personal into the universal, and I'm trying to take my subject, every cell of my body, every second of every day is committed to trying to turn that into some kind of experience that makes you, the viewer, think about your own life, your own memory, your own circumstance, your own mortality, how fragile it is to be human. From the second I decide that's what I'm doing, and that's been true. The subjects are different, but that imperative has been true for every film I've ever made, without a second of doubt.
Я хотел спросить по поводу того, как трудно ли выбирать материалы для того, что будет в самом фильме. Вот. У него же много накапливается материала, а фильм всего длится там около 80 минут. Как он подходит к тому, что выбирать?
Well, first of all, difficult isn't a bad thing. Difficult can be a good thing. But it's a process of making decisions and making choices and making discoveries, which for me is fun. And I'm not afraid to have a bad idea or to try something, even if it doesn't work. That's what this is about, to make discoveries and to find your way and to find surprises and surprise yourself, because in the end you're going to surprise the viewer and make the viewer understand your subject in different ways. Yes, I am surrounded by all sorts of information and media and sounds and images, but it's not the archive that I have is everything that's there I put there. You understand? It's at a human scale. It's at my scale. So part of who I am in the world and what I do is to be a master of that archive that I created. It's not so simple, and I forget and I lose track of things. That's normal. But it's a challenge, and I like that. And every film is a different kind of challenge, and I like that too.